Session Recap: The Necronomicon and the Fallen Five. The battle against the drow had ended. Broken weapons, scorched stone, and the bodies of the fallen lay scattered around the bone-dry fountain. The ruined temple still echoed with the memory of clashing steel, lightning, fire, and desperate magic. But for the first time since entering the chamber, the adventurers were able to breathe. They searched the bodies of the drow, gathering anything that might help them survive the unfamiliar ruins. On the body of the fallen drow mage, they discovered a massive ancient tome bound in blackened leather and reinforced with tarnished metal. Across its cover was a single word: Necronomicon. The book did not radiate magic, but there was something deeply unsettling about it. Its pages contained an extensive study of demons, where they came from, how they entered the mortal world, the duties imposed upon them when summoned, the methods used to call and bind them, and the ancient hierarchy of the 9 houses. It was not merely a collection of stories or warnings. It was a detailed record of demonkind and everything known about their existence. Recognizing both its value and its danger, Momo took responsibility for keeping the Necronomicon safe. With the book secured, the party continued exploring the ancient royal temple, the Chapel of Bones. Several nearby rooms proved empty, stripped of anything useful long before the party arrived. A search of the dry fountain uncovered several potions and scrolls hidden among the cracked stones and ancient debris. Eventually, the party entered what appeared to have once been a chapel. Dust covered the floor. Broken furnishings lay scattered beneath hanging cobwebs, and the remains of old ceremonies had long since rotted away. Along one wall rested 4 massive minotaur skulls surrounded by piles of loose bones. At first, nothing moved. Then one of the skulls tipped over. It rolled slowly across the chapel floor and came to rest in a distant corner. The party watched in uneasy silence. A second skull began to move, then a third, then the fourth. The scattered bones began to tremble. Tiny movements became violent, shaking as ribs, arms, legs, and spines dragged themselves across the floor. The bones gathered around the 4 minotaur skulls, rising piece by piece until 4 towering skeletal minotaurs stood before the adventurers. The chapel erupted into battle. The creatures charged with terrifying strength, their heavy skeletal frames smashing through ruined furniture as the party met them with steel and magic. One minotaur skeleton fell, then another, their bones crashing apart across the stone. But the chapel held another guardian. From the darkness beyond the altar slithered a massive skeletal serpent, a Bone Naga, its empty eyes burning with hateful intelligence. Arcane energy gathered within its jaws as it prepared a devastating lightning bolt. Momo immediately raised her hand. The lightning vanished before it could be released. The Bone Naga stared at her in stunned disbelief. Open quote, "Do you know how long it takes to prepare that spell?" Close quote. Its fury rose as it twisted toward her. Open quote, "Half a day. I can cast it only once, and you dismissed it as though it were nothing." Close quote. From that moment forward, the Bone Naga wanted Momo dead. It pursued her through the chapel while the others fought the remaining minotaur skeletons. Steel smashed through bone. Spells flashed through the dust. The last skeletal minotaur finally collapsed, leaving only the enraged Naga. Momo had heard enough of its complaints. Her magic struck the creature and forced it into unconsciousness. The Bone Naga collapsed across the chapel floor, its long skeletal body falling still. The party showed it no mercy. When the battle ended, they searched the chapel and recovered additional potions, scrolls, and a powerful mace of disruption. For a brief time, fortune appeared to be with them. The contract. The party continued through the temple. One chamber had partially collapsed, its ceiling having crushed an entire corner beneath tons of stone. Other rooms contained little more than dust, debris, and the remains of whatever purpose they had served centuries ago. Then Basil opened another door. He stopped immediately. 4 dead adventurers hung from the ceiling. Their bodies showed signs of torture. Whoever had captured them had demanded information before killing them, but whether they had revealed anything remained unknown. The party lowered and searched the bodies. Among their belongings, they discovered a contract. The dead adventurers had been hired by a celestial scholar residing in the distant city of Kala. Through years of research, the scholar had concluded that the Necronomicon might be hidden somewhere within the ruins known as the Black Rubble. He had also learned that another unknown group was searching for the book. The adventurers had been sent to recover the Necronomicon and deliver it safely to Collar. In return, the scholar had promised each surviving member of the company a reward of great wealth, powerful magic, or advancement in station according to their desires. The party now possessed both the contract and the book those adventurers had died trying to find. They chose to rest in the chamber. Food was shared, injuries were treated, and spells were recovered. For a few precious hours, the ancient temple remained quiet. Then they moved on. The forbidden door eventually, they came upon a sealed door. Basil examined the lock, but no matter what he tried, it would not yield. Momo studied it briefly. Open quote, "It is magically locked. You are not going to open it." Close quote. Basil stepped aside and gestured toward the door. Open quote, "Then have at it." Close quote. Before Momo acted, the party noticed a warning left by the drow. The message was clear. No one was to open this door. The warning should have been enough. But the door had been sealed with an arcane lock. The drow had gone to considerable effort to make certain that whatever lay beyond it remained imprisoned. The party discussed the possibilities. If the drow had placed such powerful protections upon the door, then something valuable might be hidden behind it. Perhaps treasure, perhaps another artifact, perhaps something connected to the Necronomicon. None of them knew the truth. The drow had not sealed treasure behind the door. They had trapped a demon. The creature was a Greater Warden Demon, a fiend created to guard prisoners, prevent escape, and protect whatever responsibility had been placed under its charge. At some point in the distant past, someone had summoned it and commanded it to ensure that the Necronomicon never fell into the wrong hands. The book had already been taken. The Guardian had failed in its duty, and now the adventurers were standing directly outside its prison. Momo stepped forward and cast Knock. The magical seal shattered. The door opened. Hashed the Greater Warden Demon. A monstrous figure moved within the darkness beyond the doorway. Basil reacted first. An Eldritch Blast struck the demon and hurled it backward. The creature surged forward again. Basil fired a second time, forcing it back through the doorway. The others unleashed spells and attacks through the opening, desperately attempting to prevent the creature from entering the temple. For a moment, it seemed they might hold it. Then the Greater Warden Demon forced its way through. The battle became a nightmare. The demon towered over the adventurers, wielding a massive key as though it were an executioner's weapon. Each swing shattered stone, crushed armor, and drove the defenders backward. Magic struck its body from every direction, but it continued advancing. Then the demon unleashed a wave of psychic force. Agony tore through the party's minds. Several adventurers dropped to their knees, clutching their heads as the ruined temple twisted around them. Somehow, they forced themselves back to their feet and continued fighting. Momo was the first to fall. She collapsed beneath the demon's assault, but her companions reached her with healing magic and brought her back into the fight. The party refused to abandon one another. They attacked with everything they had. Basil struck again and again with Eldritch Blast. Ildrek stood against the demon with holy strength. Bartleby searched for any opening in the creature's defenses. Randolph poured his magic into the battle. Tolver used every invention and spell at his command. Momo, injured but conscious, continued casting. It was not enough. One by one, they began to fall. Basil attempted to teleport away, hoping to reposition himself or escape the demon's reach. The Greater Warden Demon sensed the magic and crushed it before it could carry him away. The fiend would not allow anyone to escape its prison. Basil was forced to run. From the doorway, he watched helplessly as his companions continued fighting. He saw them fall beneath the demon's weapon and psychic assaults. Still, he could not leave them. Basil rushed back into the chamber and reached Tolver. If he could restore Tolver, perhaps Tolver could heal the others. Perhaps they could still turn the battle around. Tolver regained consciousness. For one brief moment, hope returned. He tried to act, he tried to save them, but the Greater Warden Demon unleashed another devastating wave of psychic power. The force swept across the chamber. Bartleby fell, Ildrex fell, Momo fell, Randolph fell, Tolver fell. This time, none of them rose. The fallen five. The battle was over. 5 adventurers lay dead within the ruined temple. Bartleby, Ildrex, Momo, Randolph, Tolver. They had survived the horrors of the world's largest dungeon. They had protected the helpless, fought impossible enemies, and carried 7 survivors through dangers that should have killed them all. Their journey ended not beneath the familiar halls of the prison they had escaped, but in a forgotten temple beneath an unknown land. Basil survived, but survival offered him no comfort. Grieving and exhausted, he gathered the 7 survivors and led them away from the chamber. Those people had lived because of the 5 adventurers now lying dead behind them. They understood the cost of their survival, and their sorrow joined Basil's as they left the temple in silence. Once the survivors were secure, Basil returned. He recovered the bodies of his friends. The silver celestial key still allowed him to open the portal connected to the world's largest dungeon. With the help of the survivors, he carried the fallen through the gateway and returned them to a secure room they had once used as a refuge. It was not a burial. Basil was not ready to surrender them to death. He placed their bodies within the safe room in the hope that one day he might return with the power, wealth, or allies needed to restore them to life. He gathered as much of their equipment as he could, carefully placing it within a bag of holding. Among those possessions was the Necronomicon, the book that had drawn the drow, the dead adventurers, and the Greater Warden Demon into the same terrible chain of events. The contract pointed toward Collar. Perhaps the celestial scholar who had offered wealth and magic for the Necronomicon possessed knowledge powerful enough to bring Basil's companions back. Perhaps the scholar would honor a contract originally intended for another company. Perhaps the book could purchase more than gold. Perhaps it could purchase life. With the Necronomicon in his possession, the silver key at his side, and 7 frightened survivors depending upon him, Basil left the ruined temple. He stepped into an unfamiliar world with no map, no knowledge of the surrounding lands, and no idea how far away Collar might be. Behind him lay the bodies of 5 fallen friends. Ahead lay the vast and unknown world of Bethica. And somewhere beyond the mountains, Basil hoped there might still be a way to bring them home.